Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to more Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Hope you're well today, and a big shout out to all my subscribers. Thank you for all the support on the channel. I love you guys, and I appreciate the support that you give me every day. So today we're going to have a wee bit of a deep dive into Ghost Recon. At least we're going to give you a beginner's guide if you haven't played the game before. So we're going to assume that you haven't played the game before, that you're running on a solo experience, and the level is going to be regular. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to get you ahead of the curve straight at the gate within the first couple of hours of the game, so that you get your head around how the game works quickly. You get into a strong position to level up quickly, and you know, all the kind of key things that you need to use to move around the map and be a very effective player early on. So I hope this helps. If you are playing the game and you're struggling a little bit, then this should also help you. It will also translate to Ghost Recon Wildlands, some of this information. So let's get into it. I hope it helps. Let's do this. So once you get through all the kind of opening screens, you're going to come to this screen here, which is going to ask you to pick either regular and immersive, and it will run through a whole lot of stuff on what the benefits of each of those type of experiences are, and it might be a little bit confusing. Generally, my advice is just to go with regular. Don't touch anything, and just start the game. You can always come back and tweak this. You can always come back and change the gaming experience at any point in the future. So really, just to get into the game, my advice is just hit the regular button and off we go to play the game. So what I did to make sure that I covered absolutely everything straight out the gate is I actually went back and restarted on my other account. I restarted the game from day one, and so make sure that I don't miss anything that you're going to need in the first couple of hours of the game. So hopefully you appreciate what I'm about to tell you. And the first key thing is really we're going to talk about is the minimap. So you're going to see the minimaps down in that kind of right hand corner, and you're going to see as we run up on this building, things are going to appear on the map. So you can see that's a cross, and that's really telling you that there's some health supplies in this building. You'll also see some little kind of red, just on the edge there's some red dots, and that indicates that you've got some enemies present. There, another little icon there you can see as a kind of is indicating ammunition. So get used to using the minimap early on. It will help you a lot. It will help you identify where things are, but more importantly, it will give you an indication that there are enemies in the area, and that's very important. Now we're going to let this run, and so it's showing you basically that there's enemies and basically what direction they are. So this is where you need to be very, very cautious. Continually looking at the minimap, and you can see as we get closer to that ammunition, you see how the little red dots are getting stronger and stronger, and that's indicating that you're getting closer and closer to your enemies. Now, you don't have to engage the enemies at this point, but you just need to be aware that they are there. And we'll get on to marking your enemies in a bit, but it's very important you understand how this minimap works. So moving a step forward, we've basically just come out Era 1 very early on, and we have a drone now, and we're going to do some surveillance. So I want to just talk a little bit more about the minimap, and we're going to freeze the game in a minute once we get the drone up, and I'll show you a little bit more about how this map works. So let's get in more central into the base, and we'll freeze it there. And I'm going to blow the minimap up for you, and it'll show you what we're looking at here. So we can see the red dots. There's some enemies around. There's some skill credits up to your left there. There is obviously an objective we have to find in a couple of crates. So, and it also indicates where your helicopter is. Now, you might laugh at that, but when you've been in some of these bigger bases, it's a very important one. If you're using a helicopter a lot, to know where you've parked it. So it also shows you the direction you're looking at the base on. So again, get familiar with the minimap, understand what it's telling you. It will help a lot. So one more thing on that map, you'll see on the road there's a red car. That means that's an enemy car that's just passing by. So again, you might want to wait until they've passed by before you enter the base. So next thing to talk about is loot. And I encourage you to loot everything you can very early in the game. Get as much gear and weapons as you can. It will help you a lot, and it will also help you progress your character. And the objective for us early in the game, especially at the start, is to get to Erewhon with a couple of skill credits, having earned a couple of skill credits. And I'll show you how to do that as we progress through this video. So again, early in the game, get used to sneaking and stealth and using the tools that you're going to have to mark your targets. Choose your battles carefully and understand that sneaking around and being stealthy is a much better strategy than running in and trying to kill everybody, especially early in the game. So choose your battles carefully. You can mark your targets early in the game in the first maybe hour by just pointing your gun at them like we're doing here. And knowing where and you can see it changes on the minimap from a red blob there to a white arrow. So knowing where your enemies are so that you can negotiate your way through certain areas is important, because you don't necessarily have to engage with them. You can just kind of sneak on by, and if you don't feel you're in a very strong position to actually take them out, then you can just sneak on by, and you don't have to worry about them too much, but you do know at least where everybody is on the map. So very early on in the game, you're going to make it to Erewhon. Now, Erewhon was the place you saw when we started this video. Make sure you speak to Holt in the infirmary. He will give you the drone, and the drone is going to help you no end to mark targets, know where everything is, know where your enemies are. And I would say get used to doing this when you come into a new base, new area. Try and mark as much of the enemies and whatever's going on around the map first up before you go running in, so that you know where everybody is. Now, you know, I find that I don't always pick up everybody with my first sweep, but at least with the little red indicators on the minimap, you can tell that there are enemies around. Mark as much as you can. You might have to take it with some of the bigger bases, you know, section by section, but use the tools available to make sure that you can mark your enemies, and then you can use a stealthy, sneaky approach to infiltrate the bases, find what you want, and be an effective player. So what you're going to find as you progress through the game, there's a ton of gear and a ton of loot to find in this game. Tons and tons and tons of it. So it's very important for you to level up and get better and better gear to do a couple things. And we're going to talk about your gear first, and then we'll talk about the weapons and how that works as well. But it's very important to loot, and then loot some more early in the game. So something you're going to come across early in the game when you're looting is a little symbol with an eye, which is information. So it will give you that little prompt to investigate. Now you'll see, I'm going to freeze it in a second, you'll see there are 3 options here. What I would advise you do early in the game is always choose the bivouac option. And we are going to cover bivouacs in a little while, but It's very important to get around the map and get around the map quickly and do side missions, all kind of stuff, that you have as many bivouacs on the map open early as possible. You're going to pick up gear all over the place, and it's going to affect this score here, this gear score. You can see we've got 6, which is an average of all these. What's holding us back is these gloves, and you'll see I just picked up a new set of gloves. And I'm going to equip them, and you watch what it does to the gear score. Straight away it's going up. So don't get too hung up on the gear at the start of the game, because they generally don't have any properties. It's basically just to help your gear score. Now, by adding new gear, and always have the highest level gear at the start of the game, it will increase your gear score. As you increase your gear score, you'll find better and better loot. So that's an important thing to make sure at the start of the game, that you're always upgrading gear as you find it. And my advice with the gear that you've got left over, and there's a few things there, sell those to get money. Don't hold on to these. They don't seem to have. You can kind of break them down, as you can see. You can dismantle them, but they don't seem to really, like, there's some gear parts there which you might need. We'll talk about the upgrading the gear, but pretty much I would say with this stuff, just sell it and get some money or some credits. So, within the first hour of the game, you should reach Erewhon. Erewhon is the main staging area, and your setup should look something like this. You should have an AR, a sniper, and the pistol you started with. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about weapons. I'm going to talk about what my recommended setup is. But what I'd encourage you to do is loot a lot, as we've just covered, and try out the weapons and find the weapons that most suit your play style. We'll talk about in a little while. We're going to talk about the class setup, but find the weapons that suit you. My recommendation is that you have a mid to long range sniper or marksman rifle. You have a mid to close quarters weapon, might be an SMG, might be an AR, might be a LMG, doesn't really matter. And then the pistols. Now, the pistols are underrated in this game. The pistols will one-shot, headshot people all the time. The other recommendation I give you is that you run, and this was something that I picked up from Dark Dali's videos. If you haven't seen his channel, please check him out on YouTube. He'll give you a lot of tips on Ghost Recon. Something I tried and I like is to have 2 suppressed weapons and 1 weapon that's unsuppressed. And generally how I run it is suppressed sniper, suppressed pistol, and unsuppressed close quarters gun. So the logic behind that is that, and make sure that you have your unsuppressed gun in slot 1 in your primary slot. The thought process behind doing that as a setup is that you can quickly, very quickly, whether you're using a pistol or a sniper or whatever it might be as your secondary, switch to your primary weapon when you are getting attacked. And your unsuppressed weapon is going to be used when you are really in trouble, when you've been detected in the game and you need to fight your way out of a situation. And so having it in that primary slot allows you to fight, choose it quickly and use it quickly and get yourself out of trouble. So when you click on a weapon, you'll see it'll give you a whole lot of stats there. The most important one is the one at the bottom under recoil on the left hand side. That's the damage number. But again, it'll give you a whole lot of information to help you make a decision how the weapon's going to handle and whether it's going to be for you. Now, here we go. So we have a DMR, a marksman rifle, dedicated marksman rifle, which has only got 60 damage. Now, what we can do is we can click in here. We picked up an HTI, which is 160 damage there compared to 60. But you can see with the bars there that there are some negative effects on choosing that gun. I generally go for out and out power damage, and we can upgrade the gun to compensate for the rest, and we'll show you how to do that. So we're actually going to select the HDI in a second, and get rid of the SVD. So let's choose that. That's it there. Okay, so how do we upgrade that weapon to improve the negative stats? Well, pretty easy. The first thing we have to do is dismantle the guns, and don't be scared to dismantle any of the guns that you've picked up. Try them first. If you don't like them, dismantle them. Once you've got a gun that you do like, the next step are this, and you can see all the parts that those guns just gave us on the right hand side there. Go to Edit in Gunsmith, and you'll see upgrades down the bottom. Now, you'll see when I hover over this damage profile, if you pay attention, it will actually show you what the effect is going to be. There you go. It's actually increased it by 1. And so once you find a weapon that you're happy with early in the game, I would say upgrade it as much as possible. Don't get too precious holding onto weapons. Dismantle them so you can upgrade a weapon that actually works for you and is killing the way you want it to. And you can see it's improved some of the stats straight out of the gate. I've got to say most of the weapons in this game are pretty good. So that's how to use your gear and what I recommend there, and then what to use with weapon setup, and how to improve the weapons that you've got once you're happy with them. So next thing to cover is the actual class setup. So here is a tip for you in the first hour of the game, and that is, do not take a direct route to Erewhon. Do a little bit of exploration on your way to Erewhon once you've got that mission equipped, and just see if you can come across little bases like the one I'm showing now, and do a little bit of practicing killing, identifying, using your minimap, identifying enemies, etc. And the prime objective to doing that is to be able to earn a skill point. And the reason I say that is that your first skill point doesn't open up your skill tree. It allows you to choose your class, and so being able to choose your class as quick as possible is very important. Now, upgrading your skill tree, we'll talk about what I think you should choose as your first skill point once you've opened your class up. But to be able to earn a skill point is basically about collecting XP, and to collect XP, it's basically doing a whole number of things in the game, like looting, killing enemies, etc., to be able to progress your character and earn skill points. You can find skill points around the map as well, but the easiest way is just to play the game. So let's have a look at the class setups, and I'll explain those in a little bit more detail now. So there's 6 classes to choose from, 4 primary and then 2 others. So just take your time, hover over them, see what they're about. You can actually click on them and read the details, read through all the details. Select the class carefully. Select it very carefully. Make sure it fits with, or as close as possible, fits with your playing style. So the 2 most popular are Sharpshooter and Panther. Panther is very much a stealth class. Sharpshooter if you're using a sniper and killing enemies from range. That's probably my preferred one, but choose very carefully. Take the time to read through these descriptions before you spend your skill point. It will help you in the game a lot. Building on that, going forward, again, playing the game, your class, the more you play the game, the class will improve. You can see I've just ranked up to 2. Have a look, make sure you have a look into your class that you choose, what kind of challenges you have to do to upgrade it. And you can see, again, I haven't reached Erewhon yet, and I've already acquired another skill point. So With the second skill point, where should you put your money in? Well, let's have a look. So my recommendation for the first skill point that you get to use in your skill tree is use the XP boost. This one here, experience upgrade. There's 4 to choose from. Night vision, more ammunition. Use the XP. Remember I said earlier that the leveling up and acquiring skill points is all based on generating XP. You get 20% boost to all the XP that you're going to gain in the game by choosing that one, and early on that is an absolute bonus. We will show you how to boost that up with the bivouacs in a second, but that's the first one I'd choose. There's just no disputing that. It's the best one to choose early in the game. So let's move on to moving around the map and how the bivouacs are going to help you again early in the game to move around the map and be an effective player in Ghost Recon. So here we are at the bivouac. These things are key. These are basically dotted all over the island, and actually we have done a guide for bivouacs which I'll leave a link to, but you can see there's a few bivouacs over the island. We obviously haven't opened up the map a lot yet, so these are key to moving around the island quickly, and there's a couple of things that you really need to understand early in the game and how to use these bivouacs. The first thing is, when you come to a bivouac, before you deploy it, assuming that you've been to Erewhon already and you've picked up your wee drone, put the drone up and start to do this, where you can identify parts of the map. Just fly it around all over the place and open up the map for you. It will help you a lot. If you're lucky, you'll get another bivouac and you'll be able to use that to progress along the map. But yeah, do this. Go 360. There's another one. And open up all these areas on the map. As much as you can get open early, the better your experience is going to be. Because from a looting point of view, you're going to be able to have loot targets all over the place, and you're going to be able to progress a whole lot of things for your character. I think we've got everything now for now. So get in the habit of doing this every time you come to a bivouac. I think we're good now. So a couple of things that I would say you need to do when you first deploy your first bivouac. You can, of course, skip this animation. I'm going to let the animation play so you can see what it looks like. And it just takes a wee bit of time to do. There we go. So, 2 things. Eventually, come on. So, 2 things. First thing is go to preparations. Go all the way to the end. Once the walkthrough is done, go all the way to the end and initiate the resources preparation boost, and this will boost your XP. This will build on the skill tree XP boost. Remember what I said about the XP? That'll give you another 10% on top of what you've already got on your skill tree. So it'll allow you to rank up real quick, get more skill points quicker. Second thing is go to garage and make sure this is checked. You want to have a helicopter ready to go at every bivouac. Once you've done that, time to leave. If you want to do shopping and stuff, you can, but we're early in the game. So, there you go. And it will generate a helicopter for you. Now, this is a good way of getting around the map quickly. And Ubisoft just given me another Another reward. Thank you, Ubisoft. And yeah, that's the bivouacs. It will help you get around the map quickly, give you access to a helicopter which will help you get around the map even quicker. And yeah, go around if you like in a particular area and see if you can open up as much as you can. Look for the bivouacs, open up as much of the map as you can, and off you go. So the very last tip I have for you is to pick up and do as many side missions as possible. Now the side missions you'll see is this little symbol that we're about to walk up here. It's like a yellow dot with a red plus sign next to it. That's how you find them. Just go up to the people, have a wee chat, and they will give you side missions. So grab those that are all over the map. When you're exploring, you'll come across people that have this symbol. Pick those up and do those, as many of those as possible early in the game. Remember, the objective is to get your XP collected, gain XP, so that you can level up, so that you can get skill points, so that you can boost your character. So side missions, like they are in many games, are very, very important in this game, and it basically just puts you ahead when it comes to doing the main mission, and it will help you a lot. So guys, that's all the tips I have for you in the beginner's guide to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I hope it's going to help you enjoy the game and you know, get your head around all the stuff, the key stuff that you need to know early up, and just helps you concentrate on playing the game and not having to worry about all the stuff that you've got to learn, and whether you're pressing the right buttons and making the right selections early up. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I've got a lot of guides on Ghost Recon so far, and a lot more to come. And we'll catch you next time on Gaming for XP. See ya!